the reason Johnny Gallant from Billy Talent is coming on is because he's going to talk about how they're going to perform at the Danforth Music Hall, which is here in Toronto, a historic building where some of the greatest players have ever. It's a fantastic venue, but they're doing it in support of what, to my mind, has been, if not the worst, but certainly one of the worst that we've seen, I think, in the history of Toronto in terms of modern-day violence.
A gunman killed an 18-year-old woman and a 10-year-old girl and injured 13 others in Toronto's Greektown neighborhood on Sunday, July 22nd. While police are still trying to figure out exactly what happened and why, eyewitness accounts have described a rampage that spanned several blocks. This is everything we know so far about the 350 meters of carnage. It all started near the Alexander the Great Parquet Fountain on the northeast side of Danforth and Logan Avenues. Witness Andrew Matzios said the alleged gunman, Faisal Hussein, fired several shots at a group of people waiting to cross the street. He was dressed in black and wearing a dark baseball cap. It seems like he wanted to kill as many people as he could, Matzios said. He looked like a dog baring his teeth. Matzios said he saw a woman fall as she was running, and the shooter shot the woman 2 or 3 times as she lay on the ground. He believes she died. Matzios said the gunman walked westbound, zigzagging from one side of the street to the other. After firing several shots on the south side, he appeared to reload his gun and crossed to Dimitri's on the north side, Matzios said. The gunman fired into the popular dessert spot. It was near Dimitri's that an Instagram user filmed a short video showing him turning to his right, raising a handgun, and firing at least 3 shots into the cafe. A few doors down, Nick Balkos was cleaning his restaurant when he saw a man walking west with a gun in his hand. Timestamps on security footage from Burger Stomper show the gunman walking by at 25 seconds after 10. He ran across the street, and he did it like a first-person shooting game, like a Call of Duty kind of thing, where he just pulled it out, Balkos said. He was just yelling and just bam, bam. He unleashed the whole clip. Balkos thinks the man hit 2 or 3 people on the patio outside Second Cup. Then he ran towards a tattoo shop and fired again. The gunman continued west to Seven Embers restaurant at the corner of Danforth and Bowden Street. A witness told CBC that she heard gunshots before the gunman entered the building and shot a woman in the chest. She praised police officers for administering first aid and saving the life of the victim. Police officers encountered the gunman on Bowden Street. Ontario's police watchdog said Hussein exchanged gunfire with 2 police officers. He was found dead on Danforth Avenue shortly after. The Special Investigations Unit has not determined if it was a police shooting or self-inflicted gunshot.
That's, again, the actual incident itself of what happened. And I'm looking for the one and only Johnny Gallant from Billy Talent. How you doing, John?
Oh, good. You guys are right on the fly here.
Well, you know.
Doing good.
We're very good. I got to tell you. Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. Boy, really looking forward to the show itself at the Danforth Music Hall. But again, as we just sort of played just before you came on, the actual account of what happened on that street. And look, you've played in this town for a long time. I'm pretty sure in your lifetime you never thought on Danforth Avenue you would ever see the footage that you've seen in the last 3 weeks.
No, I never really thought that could ever happen in Toronto, let alone Canada. And I guess there has been terrible events like this in the past and stuff, but I guess kind of take it for granted. We live in such a safe city, and we still do, even despite all of this, still one of the best and safest places to live in the entire world.
Well, the Danforth Music Hall itself, Dave and I had just talked about it for those that are watching around North America or beyond the show here this morning. The Danforth Music Hall is really a piece of history, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is, and I guess it's only been the last 5 or 6 or 7 years or something where they've gotten it going again, and it's awesome. It's a great place to watch concerts.
Now, for the band itself, how did this come together where you think, okay, we want to do something for charity? Was it just unanimous amongst the group? Did you really have to say anything? Or did someone come forth and say, we really got to do something here?
Well, that's exactly what happened. The Danforth where the incident happened is not too far from our own recording studio, and it just really hit home, and all of us reading the news and being really upset about it. And Ben just sent us an email suggesting that we do something. We try to rally musicians in Toronto and put a show together to raise awareness and raise money, obviously. And our intentions, or his original intention and his intention and thought, was to try and really get some of the massive artists that are from Toronto, like Drake and Bieber, and try to put on a really incredible big show. We had a limited timeline, and people are busy, and we ended up being able to put a lineup together that we did at the Danforth. So, it's really just about trying to do something nice for the community.
Yeah, and it's very well done, too, Jonathan. We look forward to it on this Saturday. When you're reaching out to these bands, and you guys put this together relatively fast, considering the timelines, and you know all about timelines because you guys just finished a world tour. How receptive were some of these bands that you guys talked to? I'm guessing, just thinking of knowing the answer here, they were very fast on board. But how did that process all work out?
Well, anybody that could do it definitely wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So, and it was right there. From there, it was all logistics. And some people even were committal without even realizing that they were busy and had to back out. So people were absolutely thrilled about the idea and really wanted to contribute.
Well, John, as I said, we never really think it's going to happen in our own communities, but as we all know, you're not immune from really any of this stuff. And even whether it's, the issues of, mental illness or whether it is actually terrorism or just a really angry sort of person who has bottomed out, we're all susceptible. But, I think that also makes you realize that the one thing that's very, very important is coming together as a community. And the one thing about community and people, obviously it's Danforth that we're talking about, which is why you see Danforth strong, but really it's the community of music. And I know that the following that Billy Talent has, they'll be there in full force because that is your community.
Absolutely. And, it's the community we grew up into when we were listening to bands and being influenced by bands. This is a kind of a normal thing. The BC Boys used to do all their stuff with Free Tibet, and Rage Against the Machine always spoke out and contributed to their communities. And it was something that we have always been aware of and I've always been involved in right from the beginning. And I think most artists, when they get to a point where they're successful, they do want to give back because you can't get to any kind of a successful point in life without help. So, and community is always the number one way to get help.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. You guys really stepped up. This is massive. We look forward to it on Saturday. How's your summer been so far, by the way, in between and that? Because I know you have some little ones as well. So summers are always, for me personally, I kind of look forward to September because they're back at school. But I don't know what's going on in your world, Johnny. What about your summer?
I'm at the cottage right now, and I had to give my daughter and son a quick sit down that I was about to get on a conference call, and they have to keep quiet because if one of them gets hurt, I can't come running.
and John, before I let you go, I got to tell you one thing. This is kind of the cool thing about my job, I think, at times, and Dave would probably concur, that there are things that you look on over the years when you've interviewed people, and people wonder, well, do you remember the interview? Was it, did you get, is there something that stands out? There is something that I do on a regular basis at my house, and it's because of a story that you told about Gord Downey, and it has to do with putting the leaves in that leaf bag. And when you told me that Gord said, no, you got to bend the outsides of the paper so it stands up on itself, you put the leaves in. I think about your story and Gord and that day. Isn't it funny? Talking about Canadiana, I think about that every time I put those stinking leaves, way too many times. I put them in that bag.
It could be worse.
Absolutely. Hey, Johnny, you enjoy the rest of your summer. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. And I think what you're doing on the Danforth and for the Danforth is really, really important. But I'm not surprised because you are kind of those guys, and you're certainly that guy. So thanks so much for joining us here this morning. Appreciate it, buddy.
Well, thank you. And, always great to talk to you guys.
Johnny Gallant, the one and only, joining us here today on Raw Mike Richards, talking about what they're doing on the Danforth.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep.